For anyone who needs to hear this, hating yourself and thinking that everyone around you hates you is just as egotistical as thinking that you're better than everyone else. Alright, let's get into it. Today I want to talk about self-loathing. First and foremost, for anyone who needs to hear this, please put your ego aside and realize that nobody is thinking of you as much as you're thinking about yourself. I've known people who would ask me really absurd questions about their behavior, was I acting weird? Was that comment weird? Was that question too intrusive? Was I being a bitch? Just absurd things like that I didn't even notice, and I'm sure nobody else noticed either. And even if you did say something embarrassing, one, you're a person, it's okay, give yourself a break, and two, the other person is probably going to forget about it in 5 minutes. Meanwhile, you're having a spiraling cringe attack 5 months later after the actual conversation. And then who looks dumb? You. Because you're stressing yourself out over something that doesn't even matter. I mean, I've definitely been there, I've done it, so that's why I know what I'm talking about. I actually have a video called Why I'm Conceited, which kind of is related to this video, and it's more about confidence and why I have gone from one end of the spectrum of hating myself to the other side of the spectrum of loving myself a little too much. You should go check that out after you watch this video, of course. I'll put in a little clip here. After years of hating myself, I was like, shit, let me enjoy this, fuck it. And now I spend way too much time looking at myself. There's just so much more to life than hating yourself as a full-time job. I feel powerful feeling secure in my body because I know so many women aren't. It's like a fucking superpower transcending this ugliness mindset. It's honestly liberating. If you think Katie across the room is thinking about how that skirt makes your ass look or the pasta stain on your shirt, you are sadly mistaken, because Katie is worried about the presentation she has 30 minutes from now or the boy who won't text her back. Nobody cares what you are doing. At all. We are the center of our own universe, and that's why we are constantly thinking about ourselves and what we're doing and what other people think of us. But just like you're the center of your own universe, so is the person across the room, so is the person that you're talking to. They're worried about what they're gonna say to you, not what you're saying to them. There's actually a psychological term for this. It's called the imaginary audience. The imaginary audience results from the adolescent's limited capacity to distinguish between their thinking about themselves and their thinking about the thoughts of others. Because they think about themselves so much and are so acutely aware of how they might appear to others, they conclude that others must be always thinking about them at a great deal. So basically, we think that everyone thinks that we're unique and special and that they're paying very close attention to us, but they're not. We all have this idea, and it's just not, it doesn't exist. It's not real. We are not the star of everyone's show. We are the star of our own show. Which then leads me to the next psychological term, which is the personal fable. The personal fable is the belief in an imaginary audience that is highly conscious of how you look and act, leads to the belief that there must be something special, something unique about you. Adolescents' belief in this uniqueness of their personal experiences and their personal destiny is known as the personal fable. So yeah, there's a literal psychological term for this shit, and it's crazy because it's so common, because we all think of this. We all think this way. I hate to break it to you, honey, you're not that special. And honestly, that's a great thing to live by, because once you realize that you're not special, you will not care at all what people think, and you'll be able to live your life peacefully. You don't need to waste your time worrying about what other people think of you, because those people don't even notice you. And if they do, it's really not as deep or intense as you think it is. When you're on your deathbed, you're not going to be thinking about the time that you tripped on the library stairs or that awkward pause you had with that cute guy in your English lecture. And if you are thinking about it, you're probably feeling major regret that you were so self-conscious and so judgmental towards yourself, and wish that you had actually lived a little and gave less of a fuck what other people think. Come on, dude. How dare you think that I care what you're doing? Girl, I got my own problems. I'm focused too much on me. Like, if I'm walking down the street, if someone glances at me, they're gonna forget my face in 5 seconds. And they're not gonna really have any deep thoughts about, you know, that girl over there who just walked by me. Like, it's so fleeting, the thoughts that people actually do have about us. People have places to be, things to do, actual worries and issues. Their problems have nothing to do with you. If you knew what other people are going through, you'd probably realize that. Like, if you could read people's minds, you'd realize how little they actually are thinking about us. Most of the times people don't even notice the things that we're insecure about. Like, you know when your friend is like, oh, like, don't look at my zit on my forehead. Like, dude, I didn't even notice until you pointed it out. If we could see how other people saw us, we'd realize how unobservant people actually are and how little they notice about us and how nitpicky we can be about ourselves. If someone judged you the way that you judged yourself, you probably wouldn't like that person very much and you would hate being around them. So, you know, if you don't have the balls to say the things you say to yourself to someone else, then why are you saying it to the most important person in your life, which is you? Talk to yourself like you talk to a friend and notice how different the language that you use is. And like this whole like self-deprecating joke thing really needs to like die, because it's honestly so overdone and it's just tired, man. Like, it's so boring and it's honestly not even that funny to me. If your entire sense of humor revolves around self-deprecating jokes, then that just tells me that you think about yourself way too much and you are comedically uncreative. Say something interesting. Oh my god, please kill me, like I'm such a piece of garbage, like just run me over with the truck, I'm a steaming pile of trash. Okay, how do I even respond to that? I don't think people realize that even though to them it's a joke, if you tell yourself something enough times, you're gonna start to believe it. That's just like simple manifestation. Your mind doesn't really know the difference between what is real and what isn't. So even though you say you're joking, if you call yourself trash enough times, you're gonna start to believe it and actually start living that reality. Something I love to do is go out by myself. I'll go to a museum by myself, go out to dinner by myself, anything. I thought this was like completely normal, but apparently a lot of people actually have a tough time doing this because they're afraid that strangers will look at them and think, oh, like that person is so pathetic, they don't have any friends, they're just eating dinner by themselves, like how sad. But like, well, let me ask you, when's the last time you saw someone eating dinner by themselves and thought, wow, that's pathetic? You probably didn't, and if you did, like, you have your own problems to deal with, because who cares? No one, like, I'm not affecting anyone, so who gives a fuck? Do things by yourself. It'll help you learn a lot about yourself and make you realize that you don't need to rely on other people to live your life. It's really not as scary as it may seem. People have told me that they thought I didn't like them. I've actually gotten this a few times, more than I would like, and for a while I was like, okay, so am I doing something wrong here? Like, am I a bitch or something? But I'm not. I'm actually a pretty friendly person, I think. And I realized that it's really just people projecting their own insecurities onto me, because I would ask them, like, okay, so why did you think I didn't like you? Like, what did I do? Because it's always a shock to me. I'm like, what? Like, I don't dislike you at all. And, you know, when I ask them, I can see, like, the mental gymnastics they go through trying to piece together this false reality that they created about me that makes absolutely no sense. And it's so funny and it's so ridiculous, but it's honestly, it's really annoying, because I'm like, I did nothing to make you think this way. And it's always the bitches who I have absolutely no opinion on who say that they think I don't like them. I'm like, girl, you are not even my radar. I promise you, I don't hate you. I barely even know you. And it's like, okay, so what does that say about me? Like, you think that I would be the type of person to just judge you and hate you even though we've never had a real conversation before? Like, dude, I've never had a conscious thought about you a day in my life. How dare you think that you're that important to me to hate you. No offense, but like, you know, if you want to be friends, it's cool. Like, let's talk, let's have a conversation, but don't assume that I don't like you just because we've never like really talked before. I'm completely neutral on the situation most of the time. I swear to God, they think I like go home every night and do voodoo witch magic on them, trying to like induce pain and suffering for eternity on them. Like, dude, I don't even know your name. Just kidding. But like, it's just crazy to me how people can create these false narratives and in their minds and then expect me to go along with it and live up to it, when in reality I have no idea that you have this fantasy in your mind that I'm like your arch nemesis or something. I've realized that neutrality is really hard for people to accept. Like, you either have to be this or that. Like, I either have to hate you or love you. Has it occurred to you that maybe I actually never thought about you at all? I have actually no opinion on you whatsoever. But I think people would rather be hated than not thought of at all. And you know, I think a part of the reason why people think this way is because of my reserved nature. I'm not a very like out there, like in your face kind of person, especially in an environment like a classroom or rehearsal, which is usually where people think that I don't like them. It's always my classmates or castmates who think that I don't like them because what, we've never talked before? Like, okay, well, you know, I came to class to focus on learning, not on you, so that's probably why we've never talked before. Like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, so I don't really see what the problem is. And yeah, I just keep to myself, and I guess like to some people that's like threatening or something, which I get because it's a little harder to figure someone out who you don't really know anything about, who just kind of like minds their business. The people who are super like boisterous and out there and in your face and they're like, oh my god, I love you, like you're so cool, blah blah blah, even though like they've only known you for like 5 minutes. Because it's the same people who will go behind your back 20 minutes later talking mad shit about you, saying that you're ugly and you can't dress and you're annoying and this and that. Like, those are the people I watch out for, not for the people who are just minding their business chilling. All of this is not meant to sound preachy because this is all advice to my past self. I used to be very insecure and very anxious and think that people were always looking at me and you know, thinking these thoughts about me that never actually existed. I think we've all been there. And you know, the thing about confidence and self-love is like, it comes in waves. Like, it's not something that's just always there. You're not gonna wake up every day and feel super great. Some days you're gonna feel more insecure or more self-conscious, and I feel like that's not something people talk about a lot. Like when they talk about like their self-love journey, it's kind of like, it can be like this sometimes, you know? It's not always gonna be perfect. Why care about the opinions of people you don't even really know? The opinions I care about are the opinions of myself and the opinions of my friends and family, because I do care about what they think, as I should. And those people think highly of me, so that's what I'm gonna focus on, not the girl in the Starbucks line behind me, you know? So, yeah, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on the gram if you would like. Let me know what you want me to talk about next, if you have any recommendations. And yeah, thank you for watching. Have a great day or night, and love yourself. Stop giving a fuck. Okay, bye.